59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We do 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube. We simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, or we're watching the live comments that are coming in from people that watch the show live. Then when it's all over, we'll sometimes take the audio and post it over on iTunes as a podcast. So we appreciate everybody that listens to the show now or in the future, especially those that take the time to leave us some feedback on whatever platform it is you listen on. It really helps us to know where people are listening and who's out there. It also will hopefully get the show recommended to more listeners. That is one of our goals. So we do appreciate the people that do that for us on a regular basis. So thanks for that. There are 4 hosts. 3 of us are here today. We got Dano jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for joining.
My microphone turned off. Glad to be here.
Right on. Then we got Smeggy jumping in from Michigan.
Hey, how's everyone doing today?
Fair to Midland. And I'm down here in Arizona. We don't know where Bob is. We assume he's on the run from the law. So let's see. It is episode.
Or the eclipse.
Run from the eclipse still?
Right, I think so, yeah.
Possible. They say that it went out from like South Carolina, where Night Strike couldn't be bothered to go outside and even look at it. And then it went out into the ocean almost all the way to the Africa. So if he got in a rowboat and went the wrong direction, he could still be rowing away from that. So anyway, I guess it's episode 382. It's Tuesday, so we'll be talking about Second Amendment issues. Today is State of the State is Colorado. If anybody out there is from Colorado and like to jump in and be part of the show, let us know what it's like living in Colorado, then let us know. We'll send you a link over on the Gun Channel side where it is possible to send links, and we'll be happy to have you join in as a member of the show today. We have a wild card topic on Tuesday, so if anybody's got ideas for that, start throwing them into the comments. That's part of the concept of this new media, is that the audience can be part of the creation of the show, the content itself. So let us know what we should do for a wild card topic today. You can see got Moon Autoloader over on the Instagram, over on the YouTube side today. So must be mobile, and just us, all of us and Moon. Oh, they're Night Strike.
Yeah, I did find it interesting.
Thumb us down? Is he threatening to thumb us down there?
In fact, that thumb down was there as you first started to speak. That's how quickly somebody clicked on thumbs down. So.
Yeah, we don't care about if it's a thumbs up or thumbs down, because you're still a sucker. Because whenever you hit the thumbs down, that still registers as a click. So you're basically paying. You're basically
it shows, wealthy. Yeah. An interactive audience, which is really all it's a measure of.
Mm-hmm. It's how much we're impacting that audience.
Yep.
Well, now we're seeing we got Clover over there, we got Mel. So let's see who's on the Gun Channel side, which is the better and the more important of the two sides. We got Raphael over there and Angry. Mel's up there as well, and we got Smeggy.
Some people are splitting it.
Yeah, they're doubling it. They're doubling it. It's like getting a double amount of the show. It's like getting twice as much show. Yeah, we appreciate it, because you can't give us a thumbs up on Gun Channels. Everything's awesome on Gun Channels. It's not like YouTube where half the shit sucks, so they have to put a thumbs down button over there. All right, well, so I guess we'll dig into the show. I think we were saying we got the various topics. Then, of course, we have the stuff that we do on a daily basis, like the gun of the day, the gun shop of the day, the movie of the day, and the history and all that. Before we get into the show, though, we usually take a break right at the beginning like this to see if anything happened overnight. If there's anything worth talking about. Matt had a show last night, and HVS. I fell asleep, I think, in the middle of HVS's show. I was pretty tired. It's been 100-something here again, and 76 at night, and only gets down to like 76 at night, so I don't get a lot of relief.
I'm not trying to tie this into a subject that we spoke about yesterday, but I did find it interesting, and this is in regards to Hawaii Volcano Squad's chat last night, in rehearing some information that sometimes went to the back of my mind. It's not that I didn't know it; it just I hadn't thought about it a long time. And they were talking about the U.S. Navy ship Indianapolis, which had carried over one of the nuclear bombs over to Asia, and then on its way back was sunk by a Japanese submarine, in which over 1,100 men were able to get off the ship, but just over 300 actually survived when help arrived some 4 or 5 days later, due to sharks.
That's the one everybody got eaten by sharks.
Yes.
So you're saying that was the anniversary yesterday?
I'm not sure if it was the anniversary. That's what they were talking about. So I'm assuming it was maybe not to the day, but to the week, possibly.
Well, that's Bob's department usually.
But it's one of those things that you don't necessarily anticipate the moments that you might be called on for your inner strength, whether that's walking down an alley, or whether that's you expect to be shot at by the enemy. You don't expect nature normally.
Well, that's why they were talking about it there, Dano, is that they found it.
Yes, yes,
Well,
you're right.
That was
That's
recently.
the reason. Is they found the wreck in 18,000 feet of water.
Holy moly!
Just over 3.5 miles.
Wow. Is there even 3.5 miles of atmosphere?
I don't know.
That's crazy. So it took them this long to find it, I guess, because that's not
Well, planes go higher than 18,000 feet, so there's got to be.
okay. Anyway, that's interesting. So I didn't hear about that in the news. All I heard about was the engineered garbage, trying to keep people separated. Let's see. It was led by Paul Allen and Microsoft, Raphael said. Spending some of that Microsoft money to do undersea research.
Well, he actually has a long history of doing philanthropic work for at what I'm going to call the mankind level, because he has mankind level kind of money to be able to do that sort of thing. Whether it's answer historical questions or look at unusual things that are not being funded in other ways that could use money, because there's actual possibility of finding out some more truths of the world we live in and around.
I'm going to contact him about my new Mankind project, where I'm going to drive around looking at small businesses that sell handheld mechanical devices for freedom and mankind.
Well, let us know how that turns out.
We'd
be interested.
Microsoft money. Be like, this is built on Microsoft Windows or something. All right, well, so I guess we'll dig into the show then. Second Amendment issues. Like I say, if anybody out there is from Colorado and like to jump in and tell us about the state. And we're looking for that wild card topic.
Yeah, so if you have a topic, just put wild card and the name of the subject.
Wild
So
card
we can kind of pick it out.
semicolon. We're not taking the idea. All right, so Second Amendment issues. Why is the second not the first? Let's solve this. Let's figure out why these founding fathers got it all backward.
Well, I'm going to give my personal opinion. Without freedom of thought, what else do we have? Everything relies on freedom of thought. Freedom of expression of thought. I mean, what we're doing right now, what people do to earn an income, what people do to maintain their jobs for ongoing security.
don't know that I've ever heard it debated before. I'm going to suggest is we're not in that violent of a world where it needs to be our number one priority. Like you say, our freedom to gather, our freedom to pray, and our freedom to talk was more important.
Well, that's all freedom of thought.
I know, that's what I'm saying. All the First Amendment stuff is actually what, 5 things. It's freedom to assemble, it's freedom of press, freedom of all that. And then the second is guns, and then the other ones have to do with government being intrusive, I guess. But those, I think, kind of make sense to have them after, because like you say, you got to be an independent individual first, and that's got to be protected. And then you got to have the ability to protect yourself. There's nobody else going to do it for you. And then all the other stuff is just keeping the government out of your business, like generally.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I've ever heard anybody talk about why they were in the order they're in.
Yeah, I've never heard a discussion on it. Smeggy, you got any thoughts?
Yeah. I don't think the order matters. I don't think that one's more important than the other because it was before or something else.
Well, yeah, well, we're not talking about that something is more important than something else. We're just saying, is there, for some things, there may be logical reasons.
Implying is that,
What's
you know, the second should be first because it's more important or something or whatever. And I don't think that's, I don't think, I'm glad it's in there. I don't care what number it is. You know, it'd be one thing if they like didn't pass it until 80 years after the first one or something, you know, like that. Like, you know, if you look at other amendments that obviously came back, you know, a lot later, then it's like, oh, okay, why didn't they pass this like right away? But those first few ones, they all came out at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. So,
you know, but I can see a logical in the first few or ordering of them. Is the reason that the second is the second, again, I'm just trying to think this logically out, is because you have to have something in need of protection. And the reason the second is because you need to protect the first. Freedom of thought in those 5 items that G. Webb's mentioned. And then, of course, and then after ideas comes the things that your ideas helped you attain, i.e. your property. Protection of self and property, which goes into the third. And then privacy of your effects and person. It goes into protection of that. But you have to have something that needs protection first. It is, I don't want to say as a justification, I can't think of the correct word. But if you want to look at it in some sort of logical order.
So we'll go with Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So basically, the ability to have opinion and voice it, right?
Yep.
I don't think the stupid YouTube will let me put the whole First Amendment in there because of their hatred of the First Amendment. So I'll chop it into 2 pieces to make it palatable for stupid YouTube. That'll take a second. So we can put the whole thing into gun channels because we appreciate free speech. And then we'll go look at that Second Amendment, which we all know, but there's a preamble to the Bill of Rights. Did anybody know that? Super long.
Now, there's some comments over on gun channels I just want to quickly mention because I think they're interesting. YoderTexas says, if they shut down free speech, then how are they supposed to bolster support for any other freedom? And then Ralph mentions, I think they put that one first because they were exercising that freedom while they were doing that. He's got a little odd wording there.
So just as a refresher, we got First Amendment is the freedom of religion, speech, and the press. Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. The Third Amendment is the housing of soldiers. The Fourth is protection from unreasonable searches and seizures. The Fifth is protection of rights to life, liberty, and property. The Sixth is rights of the accused in criminal cases. The Seventh is rights in civil cases. Number 8 is excessive bail, fines, and punishments are forbidden. The 9th is other rights kept by the people. Anything not put into those original Bill of Rights is kept by the people, the states. And then 10th, undelegated powers kept by the states and the people. So basically it spelled out we have the ability to have a free mind and express it and bring together people and communicate and do that. Protect ourselves. We don't have the government infringing on our homes or on our freedoms and our lives, basically. And then it spells out where we have rights or what our rights are at the various levels of civil court and criminal court, and then the amount of punishments that can be doled out by a government. So I think there is some some form or whatever, some structure to the numbers. But I think
right. I mean, I can see a logical progression is the reason for B is to somehow protect or bolster A.
Yeah, they build. But I think, again, it lays on the fundamental fact that we just don't live in that violent of a world. If we lived in some kind of Klingon world from Star Trek, then the second would probably be the first, right? Because first we'd have to establish the right to exist by being dominant. Then we could start saying what we want by proving that we could say it or something, but we just don't live in it.
In a Mad Max world, the second would be the first.
Whoa, I got to go figure out what's going on. So I will be back.
Okay. And while he's out, I'm going to take a look at some of the comments. Home Runners over on YouTube says, have you guys read the Federalist Papers? He says he has not. I have not, and shame on me for that. Smeg, have you ever even taken a quick peek at the Federalist Papers?
Yeah, kind of, but I know I didn't read like all of them. So I don't know. Like I know of them. I know I've seen it before.
Yeah, and for those listening, the Federalist Papers is a collection of 85 articles and essays written under pseudonyms, so they didn't have to worry about reprisals against their ideas. By Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay. Then it cuts off there, but yeah, John Jay promoting the ratification of the Constitution. 77 were published serially in the Independent Journal and the New York Packet, must have been a newspaper, in October 1787 and August 1788. They were compiled, these and 8 others, called the Federalists, a collection of essays written in favor of the new Constitution as agreed upon by the Federal Convention, September 17, 1787, and was published in 2 volumes. So that's what we're referring to in regards to the Federalist Papers, a series of basically newspaper editorials, although not necessarily by the editorial staff, by people who had sent in their ideas supporting aspects of the Constitution. So that's something I have the opportunity with my time. I have, as far as like reading things, I can get a lot more things absorbed as far as information through like audiobooks, and I wonder if that's something that is in an audiobook format.
I don't know. It's something from what, 1787. I mean, I guess it's possible to understand it, but it's probably better to get almost a, what do you call it? I don't know if you call it a translation, but
right,
older than
and which would be fine.
But then again, they do have people that'll go back and dress up like the olden days and recite these things at like occasions, you know, 4th of July or something. So you might be able to get a YouTube video of somebody reciting it in the old English. Maybe it's the way they would have done it back in the day at some kind of meeting hall or something.
And just remember to our audience, if you have a topic for today's wild card section, please feel free to enter it in the text chat and just put wild card in the name of the topic, so we can put that in there, because we do have an open slot on Tuesdays specifically to let the audience have some input into the show.
Wildcard colon and then a topic, no semicolons. All right, so then we'll get into, I guess, some other topic other than a wildcard topic, since we don't have one yet. But since we already solved the first one, we might as well move along. Unless you guys want to add something else into that. Let's look a little something
I'm good.
Papers in a second. All right, looks like everybody else is not giving us any suggestions, so we'll move along. So we've got the state of Colorado coming up here. We'll probably jump into the gun shop of the day, since we got that queued up over here, and give us something to do while we're waiting for people to give us an idea for that wild card segment. So every day we try to feature a gun shop. As I've been driving around, or as I start to drive around here, it'll be a different shop every single day. And the goal would be to do a quick video over on the YouTube to let people know about them and give the shop some shout outs. So without any further ado, here's the shop for today.
Next up on the gun show full tour is a store called Western Drug and General Store up in Springerville, Arizona. We've been going to this store for decades now. Back when we started building gun websites and all of our network of websites back in the late 90s and early 2000s, we were going hunting and fishing up into the White Mountain areas, kind of northeast of Phoenix, all the time, every month. And Western Drug is one of the stores that we experienced up there. They've been around for decades. They've been around for 80 years, changed hands a couple of times over the years. They moved locations once. They're now in this 18,000 square foot building. It's the original, it's the second owner of the shop's son who runs it now. Their website says they have 40 employees, and you can see from the photos here, there's as much selection as any large or any medium-sized big box store for sure. Great people. They let us take some pictures. They were happy to get some exposure on the web. So this is a perfect example of the kind of store that we knew about. We knew that we're out there, and why we started doing the gun show loophole tour. So our goal is to find shops like this throughout the country, let people know about them, let you know that you're shopping with a mom and pop, you're getting all the selection you would at a big box store online, and of course spending that money locally. So let us know about shops like this. Stay tuned for more, and as always, thanks for watching.
The guys and gals at gun websites encourage you to take a seat.
Okay. So that's Western Drug. It's a real big gun shop, or yeah, gun shop. It's really huge. I don't know what to call it, outdoor store, except it's a general store. You can see from this picture, it's got like everything a Walgreens would have, greeting cards and household stuff and makeup and first aid and what do you call medicines or drugs or whatever, and then school supplies and just regular like hardware store type of stuff, and then a pretty giant gun selection over here. And we'd go up there elk hunting or deer hunting and forget something, or one time we went up there and turned out we were dying, so we went and got a heater and went over here to grab it. And I mean, I guess it is the only place to go, but it's always nice to be able to spend money with a place that's got a, what are these things? It's not a Dushka, but it's got a World War II, what is that thing, a 12 millimeter or something, lead mounted gun.
Yeah, was that a German or a Norwegian?
I want to say Swiss, but I don't know. But it's the one with this. People have seen them. I'm sure somebody will tell us out there. It would be neat to see a map. Yeah, I've been working on trying to figure out a map type of thing. I don't know if you noticed. There's some playing around with some. Did I have it in here? I guess I did. I've been playing around with animations.
Thanks, Ralph. Or Raphael.
Alati?
Yes.
Okay. No, that sounds right.
Raphael says.
So anyway, rather shop with buy a heater from a place that's got a Lottie on the wall than some stupid big box store or just an Ace Hardware or something.
And Night Strike said the same thing over on YouTube. So
probably accurate. All right. Well, that's in Springerville, Arizona. It's up in the middle of the White Mountains. Like I say, it's up where we used to go elk hunting and deer hunting all the time. Go up there fishing occasionally. And yeah, it's really not in the middle anywhere. But if you happen to be going across country, it's on old Route 66. So if you were taking an old-fashioned route across the country, you'd pass it. You'd stop there. All right. So what are they talking about over there now? So I don't know what happened to the YouTube side. It's gotten all weird. So not seeing anything though about a wild card topic. Not seeing anything. No, I see a wild card with a dash or a minus sign. That's not what we asked for.
That is unacceptable.
Colon. So almost had a suggestion for a wild card topic over there, but obviously not.
Well, just to real quick though, or on the YouTube, but it all started basically. Sean said something about like the founding fathers are like close to anarchists compared to today, and then they kind of jumped on that, blah blah blah. They weren't anarchists, blah, blah, all this stuff, and it's like, personally, I think they missed the point where he's basically saying, if you like brought them to today's standards, the amount of government they want is a heck of a lot less than the government that we have. At least that's how I read it. So it's just kind of interesting how they went off on a tangent on that. But
so instead of powdered wigs and them socks and them little short pants, they'd have like T-shirts with safety pins and anarchy A's on them.
Yeah, I guess.
I think this is just my personal opinion is if they were alive today and where the government they created and looked at what we had today, that the government that they had been basically turned into a empire rather than a country. I mean, because they were all.
I just picture them if they were in today's society. You know that commercial where that old lady's like, "That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works." That's what I picture them saying.
World,
all the bureaucracy and everything. They're just like
small government, few to no taxes, as far as directly from the people, and where today we tax everything. If a product moves from one hand to another hand, we have to tax it. I mean, they would be shocked at the taxation systems that we have.
Well, I can tell you what else they'd be shocked at, and that is the lack of response we've gotten about a wild card topic and the sloppy format we've gotten wild card topic suggestions in. I'm not even going to talk about what happened over on the gun shell side with Raphael's.
Oh, the little symbol. Yeah, I can't even get myself to say it.
A greater than. Come on, it's not even in the realm of possibility of the kind of punctuation we're looking for. So I'm disgusted, but we're gonna have to go over to the gun chat or the YouTube side, and we're gonna have to go with this one that has a dash or a minus sign in it. So the topic will be, got anything from Gander Mountain now that they are really liquidating? Question mark. And
they're closed in my area, and they have been closed for a month.
I was gonna say I don't have any idea where Gander Mountain even is. I think they're all back.
We did have a possible topic out there I thought had some interest.
Oh, really? In what form?
That was in regards to the military going back to 308.
Are you talking about this wild card dash without even a space? Military going back to 762?
Yeah, it's a wild card military.
Yeah.
I don't want my card military being wild.
This is absolute formatting chaos.
I just want to touch on the Gander Mountain thing. Is maybe it's different in different areas, but when they started their sales a few months ago, my buddy went to the one that's at least near me, and he said it was already stripped over pretty good. So I can only imagine if they're even still open. I haven't been over that way in a while. I can only imagine there's like 3 things on the shelf. So yeah, you might get a great deal on something that absolutely nobody else wants.
Dude, well, you've heard what Hosh is doing, sending stuff or buying stuff cheap and then selling it to Amazon basically at full retail, even more sometimes because people are suckers on Amazon. And can you imagine if people are doing what Hosh is doing and got into those Gander Mountains once they were on clearance? They probably just emptied the shelves, right?
We're having a whole lot of shouting from the gun channels on going back to 308/762/51.
I don't know if I'd call that shouting.
A lot of incorrect use of.
Oh, come on.
There is
What are we, the grammar police?
Yeah, there's one correct one.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, it says okay, wild card, military going back to 308. So I guess we can talk about it now.
That sounds like a topic we can sink our teeth into. So the military going back to 308, you say? Let's put that in there. I'm all for it. I've heard some people who are against it, but I think I'm for it. What about you guys?
Well, I think in addition to the for or against it is also and the why.
All right, well.
I mean, otherwise we're just saying mustard versus ketchup.
So you're going to wait until I justify it before you pick a side. I see how it is.
Well, I'm playing G. Webb's role. You usually wait to the last one to say anything so that you can play the contrarian.
Well, I also don't let anybody give any kind of justifications for it. We just go left to right, yes or no. Anyway, I want bigger bullets. I don't like little baby bullets that wound people. I'm not down for that. I'd say more bullets, bigger bullets. It makes people shoot effectively.
I guess I have a question. What would they be replacing to get to the 308?
What? 76 or the 555, 556, 223.
Oh.
Getting rid of the little
baby.
Then
I'm against it.
So now damn it to the side.
And and what I'm going to say is using the right tool for the right job is when you need distance, they should all be out there with the 308 or the 762/51. And when you don't need distance, then you go for capacity and you go to the 556.
Yeah, see, I think you don't have to throw away the 556. If you don't, just because you go to a better broom doesn't mean you throw away the whisk, a little handheld broom and a little tiny dustpan. You can still use that some places, but every once in a while I need a push broom. So I'd rather have everybody going out there with push brooms and get the job done. And if you need to clean up something once in a while, you grab a 556 and you take care of a little bit of business.
So I just think that's unnecessary size and weight of everyone walking around with it when you don't really need that. I mean, especially nowadays, most of the time they're clearing rooms and doing stuff in cities and all that kind of stuff.
The longest war we've ever been in has been Afghanistan. There are massive distances that need to be covered that a 308 won't do.
Did you get your argument emailed directly from Nancy Pelosi? We don't need us. Come on.
No, I got my argument from I don't know, the guys don't feel like carrying around a bunch of extra weight and heavy stuff when they don't need that extra bigger bullet.
Millennials don't got to worry because there's no draft, so they don't get a vote. So
I mean, hell, AKs even went to 5.45. It's for the same reason, right?
Nobody asked me about my feelings when I was in the Army about the round we carry, and I'm not interested in their feelings. I'm interested in facts, but I'm not interested in feelings.
Fact: World War II, 1 30 cal. World War I, 1 30 cal. Every other war, draw 5.56. It's just fact.
So when the troops are in the mountains, 308. When they're in the towns, 556.
No, I see. I've gone 308 all the time. Anyway, I think, yeah, you got some potential issue with, or some thing to talk about for capacity, but why? Okay, so that might be true. You might be able to carry more rounds, but now tell me why carrying more rounds is better. More rounds that can't do as much is better. Why?
When the tactic of suppressive fire is required.
That might have been okay like a long time ago and guys are isolated, but with the A-10s and the helicopters and the C-130s that provide air superiority and just dominance, I would rather see everybody learning how to shoot like Marines instead of just a couple of guys. Let's get everybody shooting, everybody competent. And then again, you don't have to throw away those 5.56s. Those couple of times when you need it, grab a 5.56 and use it like a dust broom.
Well, I mean, part of what you're talking about has been a change in the services since we were no longer in the service. Because when I was in there, I don't care whether you were a truck driver or a cook or infantry, you learned how to fire and had to qualify with your rifle and with grenades.
No, well, a grenade. I mean, you learn the concept of grenade just like you learn the concept of
Right.
What do you call it, claymore. You don't go around shooting off claymores every weekend. That'd be awesome.
Right.
Well,
but you had to show competence because we've learned from almost in every war there's an example of a Bastogne, and in Vietnam it happened as well. I mean, this is not like a unique thing that, once in history thing. If it's happened before, it'll happen again.
well, I don't
People
understand.
need to know.
So that's not a great. Whatever your point is, you lost Tony on Artisan Tony on the YouTube side. I just noticed said something like, "I have shot both in 308. Full auto is not practical like 5.56." So when did full auto become practical? We didn't have full auto in World War II, and we won it. We didn't have full auto in everybody's hands.
Yeah. Full auto is really only meant for suppressive fire. It's not really meant for picking off individuals.
Yeah, it's pointless. So I say go back to 308, go back to 308 tactics, go back to 308 competence, and then keep the 5.56s for when you need to shoot at copers or whatever, like Bob would say.
Or if you're going room to room and you don't know how many times you may have to shoot, so you might need more rounds.
308's better for them, but whatever. So yeah, and then plus we get new platforms, we got better guns, so gives us more innovation. I don't know why we want to stick with what we got just because it used to work. I mean, that was invented back in the 60s and 70s. Blech. Name something else in the 60s and 70s that's so good, except for awesome bands. See, nobody can name nothing. So
A 67 Goat.
why should Goat?
So you're
Pontiac
appealing
GTO.
to saying we shouldn't use stuff that we used in the past, and then your other point is we used 308 in the past, therefore we should use it? I'm a little confused by your points.
Okay, touche, Mr. Scientist. Tactics from the past, but not stupid machines from machines from the past, not no, the good machines from the past, not weak machines.
Okay, you're just picking and choosing when you feel like taking stuff from the past.
Of course he does. That's what he does.
Well, you can't. If you do everything from the past, then you're doomed to repeat it, right?
I mean, even the audience has picked up at this point that G-Webs always tends to answer last for a reason.
Oh, please.
Because he's a gracious host?
Yeah, because you guys like to be wrong, and then I like to correct you so that we get the show like an overall accurate. All right, so what are we getting on the gun channels on the YouTube?
Yes, Grand, I agree. G does not know what a goat is.
Yeah, I have no idea what a goat is. I thought you were talking about some ISIS thing. And they're talking about Sun Tzu, Art of War. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess it works. So there's your topic.
There you go. Yeah, we fixed the military apparently.
Yeah, they definitely should go to 762.
What? Well, just for clarity, are we talking 308 or 762 by 51?
51. NATO, because of stupid Europe.
Is there that much of a difference?
Yeah. Well, there is a difference, I guess. 308's a hunting round. 51's military. So military is stronger? Question mark? I don't really know. Well,
All right.
he's having trouble with his mic or what now, but I think we'll solve that one and move along.
Yes. So let's move it along.
All right. So should we do the state of the state, or do you want to do movie or one of the other things?
New state of the state. If my partner's ready.
Sure.
All right. State of the state for today is Colorado. Oh, Colorado. All right. In regards, there is no state permit to purchase. There is no firearm registration. Now it says here there is no assault weapon law. And then it says Denver ordinance bans assault weapons. So I'm going to put a question mark as to is that wider than just Denver or not. Then under magazine capacity restriction for both long guns and handguns, absolutely yes. There is no owner license required, such as a FOID card, a firearm owner's identification card. On concealed carry permits, there is none required for long guns, but there is for handguns. Colorado is a shall issue state for concealed carry. Permits are issued by the local sheriff to county residents. With regards to open carry, it's yes, but with a little asterisk. It says legal without permit requirements except in Denver and other posted areas. Whatever that is, I'm not sure. In regards to concealed within a vehicle, yes, for both handguns and long guns. Although it says no permit is required, pistols may be carried with the chamber and magazine loaded. Rifles and shotguns must be carried with an empty chamber, but the magazine may be loaded. There is a state preemption of local restrictions. There is no NFA restrictions. They do respect peaceable journey laws. They do have castle doctrine laws, as well as they do not, repeat, do not have a stand your ground law. And there is a background check required for private sales. So that is the state of Colorado. Now, anybody have any from the chat, any corrections to what I threw out there?
Well, I have some stuff that might be correcting some of those things from the stuff that's been going on.
Okay.
But I'm having a hard time figuring out what actually happened with this stuff. So earlier in the year, what the heck was that date on that one? I don't know. Sometime like the springtime. Senate Bill 86, which would have gotten rid of private background checks or background checks for private transfers. Yeah, it was in March. Anyways, Senate Bill 86, it passed the Senate, and then it went over to the House, and I cannot find what it did. Like, there's no good tracking or anything. So Colorado's legislature like sucks for tracking bills. Like, I just type in Senate Bill 86 and don't find anything. It's dumb. Some of the other states have much better tracking things. So
that's something that does vary widely from state to state, is the ease or the difficulty in trying to track what's being proposed, what's the where is it within the process of their system, of their House, of their Senate, going to committees, going out of committees, that sort of thing. is there some states that do a great job in allowing the public to figure that stuff out, and there are other states that you would think it was some sort of national secret.
Well, it took me a little while, but while we were talking about it here, I was doing some searching online, and it does turn out that Colorado does prefer 7.62 by 51 over 5.56.
Bunch of stoned hippies.
So on the gun channel side, Mel the Nut was asking, do the pot laws affect the gun laws in any way? And I would say they have to.
Yeah, so when somebody fills out a 4473 and it says, I forget exactly the way it's worded, but it's basically, are you a regular user of marijuana? Would that disqualify them from completing that sale?
I don't think it even says that.
Right. Well, it says something about it's just, what the hell? What's that word? I don't know. Something about drug, a controlled substance. That's the word I was looking for. Like, there's something about controlled substance. And if I'm not mistaken, recently they updated the 4473 to put a little, like, in parentheses that basically said something like, even if it's legal in the state, the federal still thinks it's illegal, so you still have to answer yes on this.
That's why I was going to say they added a whole part to the health explanation page to just talk about that. But that might be for the medical. But that's everything. If you get a medical card, then what it says, by having a card, you can't buy a gun at an FFL anymore, or something like that.
See, I know if you get a medical card, you can't get a concealed carry card like in Michigan. But I don't know about buying.
Well, you wouldn't be able to answer that question anymore either, because you'd have a card that says you're doing something that the federal government says you can't do.
Yeah, that's very, very strange, and that's the type of stuff I think they need to kind of iron out and figure out. But
here is one other question. It's 11E. I'm actually have the PDF, the current PDF for the 4473 up on my screen. It says, are you an unlawful user of, or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or other controlled substance, ? Warning. The use or possession of marijuana remains unlawful under federal law, regardless of whether it has been legalized or decriminalized for medical or recreational purposes in the state where you reside. So that pretty clearly tells me it's not just addicted to, just use of marijuana disqualifies you from purchasing a firearm.
Right. And then they're saying, because it says, you're an unlawful user of it, most people might say, well, it's legal in my state, so it's fine. That's why they added that in there. It's still illegal as far as the feds are concerned. So,
yeah.
Yep.
And I put a link in, and I'll put a link in YouTube as well. If anybody wants to look at the current 4473 and the questions that are on there, that you can look for yourself and see what's there.
I think that's something that if we had an attorney, either, I guess, attorney from Colorado or one of the other states where it's the same situation, right? Maybe not California, but somewhere where they have gun rights, and then find out, because does that mean you're unlawful to possess, or you're just unlawful to purchase through an FFL? Because if it's unlawful to possess, then that means anybody in the state who's like in a room or in a bar, somebody blows marijuana smoke at you, you're supposed to go home and sell your firearms?
Well, that would be not part of the 4473, but part of state law in regards to like concealed carry and regulations in regards to that. Like in my in my state, I'm not allowed to drink alcohol in a bar while I'm concealed carrying.
Yeah, that's not nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm saying it's a 44.
But it's a state law, not a federal thing.
Doesn't matter. I'm saying the 4473 say the action of buying from an FFL is the thing that we're talking about here, or is it the right to own, to possess? Anyway, I think that's a whole other subject.
Yeah. Well, 4473 is merely a gateway for purchasing.
Yes, the old gateway to gun ownership.
But does it describe a person's ability to possess, or does it describe a person's ability to transfer possession? Because if it's just transfer to possess, then it would be true. Only things going through the threshold of the 4473 piece of paper would be affected. But if it's really using the ability of you to possess as the justification for the acceptance of the paperwork, then it would basically be saying anybody who's ever been used marijuana or been high from marijuana would not be able to own a firearm anymore, would not be able to possess. And then it would be impossible to say who was and how do you and that would be confiscation. And honestly, I think it's probably a lawyer thing, because if they don't enforce a law ever, even if a situation is set up that could be something could be illegal or not, if they don't ever enforce a law like 922R, if they never enforce it, can they really just start enforcing it out of nowhere?
They have the abilities to selectively enforce at the right opportunity,
I suppose.
In other words, like stacking charges.
Yeah. But if they've never in the history of existence of a situation that should be illegal, they've never persecuted anybody, I think they might have to justify why they're going to start persecuting people out of nowhere. But I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know if that's really a thing or not. But anyway, I don't think it's probably not a thing. Otherwise, as soon as they started making these law changes about marijuana, they would have had issues with gun ownership immediately.
Right. I think that comes down to like you said, the federal government just not, they're selectively enforcing stuff. So I don't think they're going into places like Colorado and California and Washington at the, federal level, people coming in and going after gun owners just because, they get a marijuana or they have a medical card or whatever. But there might be, I don't know. I know that's one of the fears for the people that are going into business with it. This is like industrial farming type stuff. And it's like, yeah, the state says it's okay. I actually just saw a special from the dude who does The Prophet. And he was, talking about it. And it's like, yeah, this is all great. Like they have these awesome facilities and the towns are happy because they're putting people to work and like they all like it. But the people are like, the federal government could come knock on our door tomorrow and take all our stuff and we'd be out of business. So they're just kind of lucky that they haven't done it yet. But I do have one more thing that was going through in Colorado. Like I said, so I'm not quite sure what happened with the background check thing. I think it passed the Senate and then just like sat around for a while. And I don't know. I know they're on break now or something, or maybe the whole thing's done and they'd have to start over again in the fall or whatever. I don't know how the state works, basically. But the other one is Senate Bill 17-007, and that is basically repealing the magazine ban. And that passed the Senate February 10th, was introduced into the House, and then it was, so March 22nd, it's in the House Committee on State, Veterans, and Military Affairs. It was postponed indefinitely, which that just means, I don't know, whatever that means. I guess it's just postponed. So it looks like they're trying, and at least both the background check and the magazine ban, they both got halfway through, which means at least some of the state legislature wants to get rid of that stuff. But neither of them have passed on the other side, so I don't know what that means. Maybe they just have a pro-gun Senate and not a pro-gun House.
Well, I think it means people need to yell and scream a little bit more. Some of the other states get more attention because they're getting wailed on, but obviously there needs to be a little bit more momentum in Colorado. All that
All
got
right. Any other tidbits on this topic?
all that got started after the initial law got passed or whatever, and Magpul pulled away. And then I bet you it's kind of quieted down there. I bet you there's very little pressure on those law, whatever you call representatives.
So we about answered this one.
I think we can all agree that 762 by 51 is far superior to 556.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think we all agree to that at all.
I don't hear.
We're just talking about the round, not what it goes in.
Let's say you were wearing some sort of jacket, and you were going to have to carry a number of 762 or 556. How many would you be able to put in the pockets of that windbreaker?
A heck of a lot more of the 556, so that's why I'm saying that makes it a lot easier to carry.
Yeah, but then they're so small, they're inadequate. Where if you had a nice sized pocket on that windbreaker, you could probably keep 20, 30, 40 rounds.
I don't think they're inadequate. I mean, I don't get where you're coming with that.
All right, well, I guess that nothing's going to happen. Nothing's coming from that.
All right.
So we'll.
And speaking of windbreakers, it's time. It's time.
Oh.
It's
Wow.
time for the tactical pop quiz.
So smooth.
Yes, very smooth. Smooth as I could get it. Smooth as butter.
All those rehearsals are worth it because the audience, I'm sure, is just amazed at our. It's like a
Seamless.
Yeah, it's like a ballet. It's like completely organized. Just boom.
Absolutely. So, Smeggy, are you
Yep.
all fired up and ready to go? All right. So those of you on YouTube and those of you over on Gun Channels, limber up your fingers, put your cursor down on the text box, and put your thinking cap on. So today's question is as follows, and I shall read it twice. What was the German designation for the captured Tokarev TT pistols? What was the German designation for the captured Tokarev TT pistols?
I'm just waiting for it to catch up. Got no answers yet.
This one's too difficult. You can't even answer.
Like, did everybody fall asleep or? Does anyone have an internet connection?
Nobody wants to answer that kind of question on German guns.
This was one that was sent in by Angry, so thank you very much for sending that in.
Stealthen Pinchelschlappen?
I think that's stealing pistols club again.
And Volksturm is not it.
We better be careful reading German words. So these guys might be trolling us, you know.
Volksturm?
No, adding another S doesn't make it right. You're still wrong.
It's too much. People don't even have any interest in the quiz anymore.
It's like we've hit the bottom.
Not a 9. That's funny.
Yeah, now that is actually humorous. I like that, Pants. Not a 9.
There we go.
What?
We got the answer. Raphael. Pistole 615.
Stupid answer.
Oh, and then Pink comes in. Too slow, Pink. Too slow.
Sounds French or something. Pistole.
So congratulations, Raphael. You are today's tactical pop quiz winner.
It seems like you should have a feather sticking out of that word. Pistole.
Maybe I just read it wrong. Maybe it's like pistola. Like
Then it sounds
angry.
like.
Is that more German?
Then it sounds like that guy who does the Ricola, blows that trumpet. That guy should be saying it.
Pistola.
You know, it does sound a lot like that now that I think of it.
That one I can get behind. 'Cause it's soothing.
Pistola.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Raphael, by actually answering the question instead of just making up German words like some of the other people did, that makes you the technical hot shit of the day.
Excellent job, Raphael.
Children are going to be born, and then they're going to start listening to this show, and then they're going to think that Smeggy came up with that. They're going to be like,
well, I mean, as long as we tear down all the history of Z, and then it'll be like he never happened.
Any statues or anything? We should tear those down.
But we got to do it during the middle of the night when no one's, awake and paying attention.
Yeah, then it's easier.
Yes, because the only way to history is through statues in the courtyard. There's no other source of information to get history.
All right, so that's transition into our movie of the day. So every day we try to come up with a gun-related movie, something you might not have seen in a while, or something you ain't seen at all. Maybe if you're a youngin', I guess it's possible. So today's movie we talked about yesterday. Actually, we got the idea a couple of days ago from I forget who sent it in, but anyway, Rambo: First Blood Part 2. So basically, the first Rambo, and then what was this? 80 something, and it was pretty darned awesome. So Rambo: First Blood Part 2. Y'all seen it?
Nope.
What?
I haven't seen it.
Are you serious? Dano, you've seen it.
I have seen it. I would just need to look it up quick to refresh my memory. But yeah, I know I've seen it.
So the first one, First Blood, is a whole separate movie that's different than Rambo. So there's First Blood and there's Rambo. So First Blood is Green Beret coming through town to see the last of his unit, died from Agent Orange, gets run out of town by a little sheriff who doesn't give a shit about veterans and wants the hippie out of his town. And then he draws First Blood, and nothing he can do. He just reacts the way he was trained. Can't do nothing about it. And then it's an awesome movie. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned, and it makes you a better person after you watch it. Then Rambo comes along, and they're like, Empire Strikes Back made a lot of money by putting out a bunch of toys. So let's put out a movie that's for like the action set, like the teeny set out there. And it's the action movie. So that's the one where Rambo's off doing his thing, trying to live a peaceful life and give back to the world. And his colonel is like, hey, you need to come back and rescue a bunch of dudes from Vietnam who are missing in action, POWs. And Rambo goes in there with his exploding arrows and rescues a bunch of POWs. So more of an action thriller than there.
Yeah, it was kind of a shoot 'em up, bang bang Vietnam movie.
Yeah, it was like more along the lines of like a Chuck Norris missing in action. So it's a different movie than First Blood, but it's all right. So when was Rambo? I'm trying to see here. There's a second Rambo made in 2008, and I'm guessing that's not the one we're talking about. We're talking about real Rambo.
Yeah, First Blood Part 2 was 1985.
1982. Oh, First Blood was 85. Okay, so year after Red Dawn, but First Blood came out in 82, so it set the ground for Red Dawn and other movies. So First Blood, iconic, awesome movie, whole nother level. Rambo didn't ruin it, but tried, and then Rambo 3 ruined it completely. So I'm giving it one thumb, only because, now we're in 2017, but back in the day, I would have given it 2 thumbs for sure. What are you guys giving it?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah. Well, how many thumbs are you giving it?
Oh, I'll give it 1 thumb up.
Okay. So it was a great movie at the time, and definitely we're seeing some feedback on the YouTube side that I don't know, they're having trouble typing, I guess, over there. But anyway, yeah, it was a good movie, and at the time for sure. But because there are better movies out there now, I'm only going to give it the 1. And First Blood still gets 2. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's
I'm
really,
not giving anything because I haven't seen it.
as far as the quality of the movie, there's really no comparison between the original and part 2. But then again, that's kind of a common theme whenever they have a big movie and they say, well, how can we make it spin off? It's very rare that the spin off is as good as or better than the original.
Yeah, to go like into the drama of the first one, it wouldn't have been an action movie anymore. You know, it'd have been like dealing with him after Vietnam, and people weren't interested in like that, and they didn't want to make it cool like a Jacob's Ladder or something. So they just went with the Chuck Norris missing in action kind of route. All right, well, so I don't know. Is it worth telling Smeggy to go see it? I think so. I mean, I don't know how the hell you could live and not have seen Rambo, for crying out loud. You've never been curious after all these years of hearing people talk about Rambo. Have you seen First Blood?
Nope.
Oh my God. You've never even seen like Road Warrior?
I've seen Road Warrior.
Never seen Platoon?
I've seen Platoon.
Never seen Missing in Action?
I have not seen Missing in Action.
You've never seen Die Hard?
I've seen Die Hard.
So I don't know how the hell you can. I don't know how you can go through life not seeing any Rambos. I guess I could understand if you would have said, well, I saw First Blood and it was so important to me, I didn't want to ruin it by seeing Rambo because it was that important. First Blood was that important. All right, I could.
I think partly is because, you know, Rambo and I are about the same age, apparently. So by the time I was old enough to watch it, it was already an old movie. So who the heck watches like a, 15-year-old movie or something?
Well, okay, but that's
their stuff had already come out.
That's like
and it's not like they show it on TV that I would see, and I'm not really going out of my way at the video store or whatever. So I just never got around to seeing it.
This is iconic, though. This is like somebody wasn't doing their job. Like you've seen Apocalypse Now and Platoon.
Yeah.
This is at that level. I mean, this is an important movie. This is how do you become an American without have seen Rambo? But I'm just curious, like, because I can't imagine you would have gone through all these years of hearing references to Rambo. You've been like, I guess I get the gist of it. Some guy with a machine gun bandana.
Yeah. That's about what I do. I mean, okay. It's Rambo. Dude running around the jungle or something.
Crazy. So, well, that's too bad. So you definitely would recommend you watch First Blood. That's an important movie. And then Rambo is also, I would think, for the culturally important. Grand is saying he never seen it, doesn't care for Stallone. Angry saying Smeggy is sheltered. I agree. It's like Maggie will timidly open the door and like grab the milk that gets delivered and then close the door really fast because he doesn't want to accidentally overhear a movie or something that's playing in the neighbor's house.
Okay, whatever you say.
I don't know. I just can't. I would have, like I say, I just can't even imagine. What we got on the YouTube side? Smeggy told she brought home Rand. Oh, okay. Yep. Well, see, you're getting vulgar comments over there. Yeah. So I think the whole point of this segment of the show, though, is to talk about movies that you haven't seen in a while, usually to adults, and then movies to the youngins. So I think we're doing our service to let Smeggy know that he hasn't seen an important movie. Like we never even talked about it with First Blood. I would have thought I would have remembered you not seeing First Blood when we've talked about it in the past. I guess you just weren't there that day. Anyhow, I would definitely recommend you watch First Blood. I mean, it's a super important movie, unless you super hate Sylvester Stallone for some reason or the Green Berets. But that's a super important movie to watch. And then, like I say, Rambo took it in a weird direction. So, I mean, it takes 4 hours to watch them both. I'd watch them at some point. And then maybe let us know what you thought, if you think they're that important after hearing all that. But yeah, I guess maybe I'm just taken aback because I don't think I know that many people that haven't seen Rambo, except from like my mom and my grandparents.
At least not that many Americans.
Yeah, like I said, there's plenty of old ladies that have never seen it probably. But then I bet you half of them had at least walked into a room when it was playing and were like, wow, this movie's fucking awesome. And then sat there and watched the whole thing. But, right. So we never know what we're going to learn in the episode of Daily Gun Show. So that's one of the things we do is we talk about a gun-related movie every day. If you got ideas for movies, let us know. Looks like tomorrow which is a day we're going to talk about here in a minute anyway. We're going to be talking about The Point of No Return. Should we even ask Mike if he's seen that movie? It'll be our entertainment day, though. So tomorrow will be an episode 383 on a Wednesday. We'll be talking about entertainment. How about a Gun Channels book club? Actually, we have a Book Channels book club, so we'll talk about that. And then we'll do a good idea, bad idea, where we ask each other about our opinions on a shoulder holster for Ed. And we'll figure out who Ed is, and then we'll talk about shoulder holsters again. I think we talked about those like a week ago. That's like a theme.
I think there's only one Ed, and we shall not say the rest of his name.
Oh, that guy. And then we do the hashtag Daily Gun Show showdown. So if you're of the type who posts on the Instagram, we encourage you to use the hashtag Daily Gun Show. That way on Wednesdays, we take a look at all the new photos that have that hashtag, and we judge them. And then we vote on which one is the best. And that one earns a distinguishing comment that lets it know that it's the best picture on Instagram that week. So
and just a heads up, somebody has been going to balancing stacking school and has a pretty good one in there this week.
Uh-oh. I saw something where the knife might as well have been all the way through the damn tree. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
There's like an inch of knife sticking out anymore because it's holding up so much weight.
Yeah.
Or is it all Photoshop? You don't know. I guess that's...
Some would say it is.
Or is the knife
also
just
cranky?
broken off, and somebody put like a 1/4 inch of the knife into it, and it just looks like it's going through?
So, anyways, I guess go out and get your really good, authentic pictures and post them with the hashtag and see if you can win.
It's sad to see the kind of abuse he's taken in the comments. So we won't.
Yeah, I can only take so much abuse, guys. I'm going to go home and cry.
Didn't have any idea that so much animosity for someone who refuses to watch an excellent movie. So
it's about as bad as when I said I didn't watch Red Dawn, and then I watched it and realized it was an awesome movie. So I'm keeping that in mind and taking your advice.
You have the opportunity. So we kind of talked about tomorrow's show, right? That what the topics are going to be, the movie's going to be Point of No Return. I think at this point we're about done with whatever we're doing here. There's no history of the day other than, it's still the Ruby Ridge incident. That's the anniversary. That was a multi-day standoff over there. So while we've been running around doing our thing over the last 24 hours or so, we talked about the Ruby Ridge incident yesterday. Imagine if the FBI was outside the perimeter of your area, and that whole time since yesterday was just the first day of a multi-day standoff where they're out there pointing guns at you, and you're freaking out with your family and a shot dog outside. So kind of thing that you don't even want to think about in a movie happened to a regular person out there, or at least a person who's a citizen out there.
So I want to do Gun Channels tonight because we simulcast with Andalusia Armory for the first hour of the show. And then I think right about now, or maybe 15 minutes ago, Tactical Tuesday, Ghost, has his show rolling. And then, do we have something after that?
I don't think so. I don't think anything comes on at Tuesday, 9 o'clock.
Nothing good.
Nothing certainly rehearsed or well thought out.
Well, that's definitely true.
This whole time I've been looking through the gun history thing, or the history website that we look at, and the history things today aren't that interesting, I don't think. Well, I guess it does say that, and this is just off the history webpage that we look at. In 1995, during the 11-day siege at Ruby Ridge, Idaho, the FBI HRT sniper, what's his name, kills the wife while shooting at another target. So on the what is this, the second day of an 11-day incident where the wife got shot. So I think it started out with the dog getting shot. Now he's been inside for a day with the family, and now the wife believes she had the baby in her arms, gets taken out by a FBI sniper. So then you got, what, 9 more days of siege to deal with. Messed up situation. So anyway, that's, I don't want to keep rubbing our face in it, but that was today. But a bunch of people were born today, I guess what I was going to get to. Ray Bradbury, the science fiction writer, 1920, a long time ago. John Lee Hooker, the singer, 1917, a long time ago. And then Norman Schwarzkopf, American general, commander of the coalition forces during the Persian Gulf War, born in 1934. And more personally to this show, we've had Dan on, who was in the Army during the Berlin Wall situation, and Schwarzkopf at that point was a captain and standing there during a pretty crazy time that they all got awards from Kennedy at the time for basically not taking us into World War III. With a standoff with a whole lot more Russian tanks than we had U.S. forces, but everybody stood there and didn't start shooting at each other. So anyway, Schwarzkopf's birthday, he was born today in 1934, and I only knew of him as a name until I started talking to Dan Southard. A couple of those interviews, learned a lot more about Schwarzkopf, and you know, he's earned his rank and the respect that people give him. I don't think I ever worked for him. Did you ever work for Schwarzkopf, Dano?
Nope.
I think you went after me. And then nobody else. So anyway, sorry for to take a segment there out of the our gun channels, what we got going on, but that was the day in history. So I think we stopped off there with Hit or Miss, and then we got Rick, Big Gunner, E1 on after that.
And then tomorrow morning, we got the early watch.
Yep, they're on from, I think, 11 a.m. Eastern all the way up until we come on at 7 p.m. So it's a big, long show. I can listen to them most of the day, and pretty much do that all the time, except for when Night Strike gets on there and says crazy stuff, gets your blood boiling. But he'll just jump on and off. He won't be on there the whole time.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up the show?
I think that about does it for me, other than like, share, subscribe. Check out Gun Show Loophole Tour on Indiegogo.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I'll throw a plug out there for the tour. Do have a bunch of things going on right now, trying to get back out on the road, of course. Still waiting. I'll give you guys updates as soon as I hear more about when the cards are going to print. But as soon as I find out when the cards are going to print, I'm going to get back on the road. Really, everything's good to go for that. So we do have the patches coming. I posted a preview. I guess I could screen share here. I don't know if I showed these to the show yesterday or not. I think I might have shown them in the band chat. Or did I show them in this chat too?
Did you show what?
What the patches are going to look like. So got the patch. These are the demos. So this is what the patches are going to look like for the tour this year. They're a 3D PVC patch with the dog and the old van. And then if we can get up to the 1,000 mark, then we'll do the second patch for the pit crew, which will be the new van. And anyway, those things are mocked up and good to go. These are actually already in production because we've already reached the goal for that. But we've been stuck at that 8:30 mark for quite a while. So I'll throw the link out here and ask everybody who hasn't already participated to think about it. And even if you have, please share it, because posting it out there on social media, you never know when somebody's going to come along and see that and think it's a good idea. You know, somebody out there driving around looking at different gun shops and what. And did I talk about the new Patreon thing? I think I did. The buying stuff at gun shops.
Yes.
So that's just what I want to
remember if it was in the gun show or later on.
Yeah, I can't either. So lots of things happening over on the Patreon. People have been jumping onto that. So I do appreciate the people that are showing support and basically putting gas in the tank. And we'll put that gas to good use and start documenting a bunch of gun shops every day. And this show will be one of the ways that we get that information out there. And we'll start looking at doing more interviews and on location type of stuff as people start getting more familiar with what we're trying to do. I think that'll be easier and easier to make happen. But yeah, I think with that we can do our quote and let people head off to, well, I guess they got a half an hour of listening to
Tactical Tuesday.
Yep, and then they can head over to Hit or Miss.
Yep. All right, and as we just mentioned, we like to end our show with a quote. Today I have one from Abraham Lincoln. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. And with that, I want to thank you, and please be prepared.
It's 11:59.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.